My name is Mary Whitecow. I'm a Grove aunt. I'm 71 years old. As far as I know, no one has ever told me that I had an Indian name. I was born in 1952 at the Fort Belknap Indian Hospital. From Hays, Montana, the best. My grandmother is Lena Coleman from Fort Peck. My grandpa is Aloysius Whitecow from here, Hays, Montana. Those are my grandfolks. My dad is Joseph Whitecow from here. My mother is Josephine Bracelet. And her mother and dad is Agatha Gutzat, being short woman. That was her last name. And her mother's name was, her dad's name was Michael Bracelet. He used to run in moccasins like that. He was according to history from handed down, her dad was a great runner. My children is Josie, Jesse, Josh, and Jean, William, and Junior, and I had a son that passed away from COVID 2 years ago. Where did I go to school at St. Paul's Mission from the 1st grade to the 8th grade, and then when I went to the then after that I had some good friends. Beverly and Wilma worked, and they were influential, and for me to go to Flandreau for 2 years. And after that I came back here, but I didn't like it here, up there. I didn't like it there, too much favoritism. So I went to Busby, Montana, and I graduated from Busby, Montana, the Cheyenne Reservation. And I graduated with a high honor, most outstanding student of the year. The mission, I remember going to school up there, and I was scared when I first went up there because back in those days, we lived up there at Cree Village. It wasn't called Cree Village, but we had a log cabin where my folks lived. And they didn't tell us about school, so my first day was I didn't know what to expect, nothing, because we were kind of isolated back in the day. You didn't run all over back then. Of course, it was so dark, there wasn't any lights at night. And there was no lights around where we lived when I was little. Everything was dark. Everything, you had oil lamps, and didn't want to go anywhere in the dark. My grandma used to control us with that, saying, that fence over there, that fence up there by Cree Village that goes along up in that hill there. She used to say, there's an old lady that's this high off the ground. She's gonna catch you. Boy, we were in when it was dark. And then, so I went to the mission school, and I was there for 8 years, and it was good. There was a few incidences there. I remember I wanted to go bathroom when I was in the first or second grade, and I can't remember. And Diane Mount reminded me of it, and I used to always think if that really did happen to me, but it did. But that teacher, that sister, she wouldn't let me go bathroom. I had to pee my pants. So they took me up the attic and they changed me. But I forgave them. I just thought, they didn't know any better. They were trying to discipline us. I don't know why. But I wasn't the only one, and I'm not putting the mission down or nothing, but it is what it is. That was way back in the day, But it was a good school. They fed us good, They sure disciplined us good, boy. And they made us behave, and we did. We behaved, And then I felt like, like any place, small community, there's favoritism, And it doesn't mean the school is bad. That's just the way it was. That's just part of life, You got to live with it and learn how to live with it. You make a stepping stone out of things that come your way. You don't stay there. You know, you got to step on it and keep on going, you know. And but that's kind of my life. But I had fun in Flandreau. Oh, did I enjoy myself. That was the first time I didn't have to go outside to the outside toilet. And then we had sheets, you know, clean sheets. And we had showers. We didn't have to carry buckets of water to bathe in those galvanized tubs. Boy, you kids lucky. You guys would all have to, if there was 8 kids bathed in the same water. Yeah, and we had to carry our own water, you know. We didn't have running water back in the day. My family never did have electricity in our old cabin up there, our grandma's old cabin. But Iitaanɔɔn'i, they moved to Paul Stiffarm's old house, and they had electricity. And then Red Zit start building houses, and then pretty soon there was a big tall light, you know. And then they had, we would walk around where the light was, would walk around, you know. We were about, what, 13, 14 years old by then. So, you know, you always hear kids say, oh, I wish we lived back in the day. But you never survive. You know, getting up. I'd hear my dad get up in 20 below weather. I'd hear him get up. And he'd say, ice cold, sure cold, he'd say. And he'd be building a fire in our pot-bellied wood stove, heater. And then sometime our water would be, our basin water, you know, would be covered with ice. It would be cold sometime. And I remember going hunting with my dad, you know, this way, over this hill here, this way. He used to wrap my feet in whatever rags he could find, you know, put my boots on, my overshoes, they're just slippery. But I'd go with him and go hunt rabbits and check his traps and stuff, you know. But that was the good old days, I said, because back then it was peaceful. There wasn't hardly any, you know, fighting or nothing. It was peaceful. Kids, we just minded our own business, and we used to play with jackstones after we got older. And I showed my kids how to play jackstones. And they said, what are you doing? I said, it's called jackstones. And I showed them how to do sailors. And they said, holy mom. And then we'd play paper dolls, cut paper dolls out. And then we'd play with stick horses. Way back then, we'd play with stick horses, you know. And we'd, oh gosh, we'd have fun making mud pies. And we'd even eat mud pies. You know, it's a wonder we didn't get worms. But anyway, yeah, it was good back in the day, you know. It really was. It was peaceful. And if our parents happened to quarrel, you know, they'd make up right away, you know. That's just life. That's part of life. Nobody was mean. Nobody deliberately did anything to hurt each other, you know. That I remember, anyway. And of course, life is life, you know. It happens. That's just life. And then I remember, you know, of course, you know, there's the alcohol. After a while, you know, the alcohol starts stepping in more. And gee, that's what ruined everything. That's just what ruined everything. Everything. Took everything away from us kids. Took everything. Everything. Took my family's life. I had Jean, I had William, my dad, my sister, my other sister Veronica. Alcohol. 3 of them died from alcohol cirrhosis. Jean Rose, she was 21 years old when she died from alcoholism. And then my brother Bit, he was in his 30s, alcoholism. My dad, he was in, I think he's 75 or close to 80, alcoholism. And my mom, you know, a lot of things, poor thing, she got hit by a car, alcoholism. My sister Veronica, you know, they flew her to Seattle, alcoholism. You know, but I remember watching them, you know, drinking in a house, and I was a little girl, like maybe 5, 6 years old, and I was sitting down, you know, on the floor, not, you know, kind of squatting like this, you know, and I was watching that guy. He was drunk. He was an elder, and he was drunk. drunk, and I was looking at them, sitting there just staring. And in my heart of hearts, I said, you know, that this wine is gonna get a hold of me. I thought that when I was little. And through the years, I had my share of alcoholism, but I never let it get me down. I never went on for days. I never went on for weeks. One night drinking was good for me, but let me tell you, every time I did, I got in trouble. So, you know, to me, alcohol was an enemy. And it's still an enemy, but we all got choices to make. We either say yes or no. And now we got this fentanyl, we got these drugs up, that it's a war for our family. It's a war for our young people, you know. And so now we're fasting and we're praying as elders. There's many kids have no idea that we're fasting and we're praying as elders for all you kids. And we're asking God, please destroy this enemy of drugs. Destroy this enemy of drugs, Lord. We can't fight it. Lord, we need your help. God, we need your help, Lord. In the morning, early in the morning, we're praying. We set aside days and we fast and we pray. Dear God, our young people, God, we don't want to lose them to these drugs. We don't want to lose them to alcohol, God. You know, and that's where we're at today. It's a war. It's a war for our young people. It's a war for our communities. And I would encourage every single mom and dad and young person, begin to pray. Begin to call on God and say, God, we can't fight this. We need your help. We need your help. And he's going to help us. He will help us. But it's going to take prayer. It's going to take fasting. It's going to take humbling ourselves to God. That's what it's going to take. You know, I don't go nowhere, you know, but in the morning, from the time I get up to the time I go to bed at night, during the day, I'm on my knees praying. But I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one. There's other elders. There's other people that are praying for you young people. And this is true. It's a true story. We don't want to lose our young people. We don't want to lose anybody to alcohol and drugs. But the only way we're going to win is through God. Only through Jesus Christ. That's the only answer. The only answer. I sit here. You see my window here. That's where I sit and I pray. My Bible is there. I sit there and pray every day. I give out Bibles to people, whoever wants them. I give them. Tell them, you're going to need this. Pray the Word of God. Pray the Word of God. That's the only answer we have. But that's my story, and I'll continue praying until we win the victory over these drugs and alcohol. Till we win for our young people. But we don't stand alone. We stand together. We stand together. And we have to stand together to win this war. And it's a war. Those cartels are coming to the reservations. The reason they're coming into the reservations is because the Indian people are giving $100 for one pill. California, it's $25, 25 cents for one pill. But the people here in our reservations, they just broke one down in Billings. That woman from the Cheyenne reservation or Browning reservation was selling drugs, and she was part of that group, but they busted her. Thank you, Lord. And the one in Browning, random stop. They stopped that car, and it was a cartel. Over $700,000 worth of pills, fentanyl. And that fentanyl now, you know, that fentanyl, it has something in it, that instant death. Some of it is instant death. We can't let them win, kids. We just can't let them win. These are our children. These are our young people. And we have to make a stand. You know, young people are strong. Young people are intelligent. I always say, dear God, you know, let the young people rise up. Let the young people rise up and say no, no, no. The answer is no. You can't come on our reservation. No, you can't. You can't. We won't allow you to. But you know, when we stand together, we're unified. And so every day I say, Lord, north, south, east, and west, all across the United States, Lord God, our reservations, Lord, need you. But we need you to fight for us, God. We need you to help us to fight. We need a power that's greater than us. That's Jesus Christ. We need him. We need him. And that's the battle we're in, kids. That's the battle we're in. We got to keep fighting. We have to. We have to. Look at how many lives were taken because of alcohol and drugs. We can't stop fighting. We can't. We just can't. We gotta keep on praying. We gotta keep on fasting and going to God and saying, God, help us. Lord, help us. Jesus, help us, Lord. But I'm glad you came. I got to share with you from my heart. Keep fighting. Keep fighting. You're a multitude. You're a majority. You kids have a strong voice. You don't have to take drugs. You don't have to. You don't have to. Look around you. Don't let those cartels win. Don't let them win. Be on your knees and pray. Start forming groups together. Let's kneel and pray and ask God to help us. Don't be afraid to do that. When you turn to God, he'll honor you. He'll honor your prayers. He will. He will make sure and start seeing that. You know, I'll tell you something. I go to the canyon by myself. I take my Bibles and I give out Bibles to whoever will receive them, and I talk to them. And there was a day when I can't prove it, but I believe it was a drug dealer that was there, and I offered him a Bible. It was like I burnt him. He just pulled back. He said, no. He said, I got my way. No. I said, well, it ain't gonna hurt you if you take it. Oh, no. Then I went up the canyon, and there was a car parked, and then a pickup there. So I just said, Lord, you know, because usually I'd go to the cars and give them a Bible, but I didn't feel like I was supposed to, because it was right in the middle of something that wasn't right. So it's here, you know, and we got to fight back through prayer. You don't have to be in a church. You guys could just gather your little group and say, let's have a prayer for our reservation, that these alcohol and drugs will be stopped. You know, I'm praying that every day. I have a list, and every day I'm saying, Lord, our teenagers, every day, that's no lie. I tell you, no lie. I'm praying for you young people, that you be strong. Be strong. Turn to God. Ask him, Lord, lead me. Let me be the strong one, Lord God, for you. You know, but that's I know you wanted from the past, but the past ain't gonna help us right now. What's gonna help us is sticking together now, right now, today, right now. You know. But thank you. God bless you. And remember, there's elders, serious elders that are serious in prayer. We're not messing around. We're not fooling around. We are seriously praying for the young people. We want you guys to live. We don't want to find you guys an overdose from that fentanyl. We don't want to find all of a sudden fentanyl killed one of our young ones. That would break my heart. Don't want that for our people. I have kids that are on drugs. They're fighting for their life. They're fighting to live. You know, and you know people in our community. What do they look like? They don't look good, do they? I mean, they don't look good. You know what's going to help them? Prayer. Going to God and saying, hey God, we need your help. Hey God, take that desire from them, from alcohol. I could go on and on and on and share a lot of things with you, but someday I might, you know. But just remember, if God is for us, who could be against us? If God is for us, who could be against us? If we go to Him with a sincere heart and really mean it, He's going to help us. He's going to help us. That's all I have to say. We're rooting for you guys. We're rooting for you young people, okay? Wheelbread. Wheelbread. Oh, sometimes the days were hard. Sometimes there was no baking powder. It would be flat bread, but this is what she'd say. Even if your kids drink tea with sugar and this bread, you'll be all right. So today I have in my cupboard, I have flour and I have baking powder. In case it gets hard, I could always make myself wheelbread. And I have tea in my cupboard, and I always make sure I got sugar in my cupboard. And she'd say there were great ones for cooking beans. And so to this day, I got beans in my cupboard, and I don't like bacon though. But I always tell the kids, put some of that salt side pork way back in your refrigerator, because when the days get really hard, you could always flavor the beans with salt side pork. And spuds, gotta have grease. Yeah, so, but yeah, that's what, that was our and then we'd all ask each other, you know, could I borrow a cup of sugar? Could I borrow salt? Do you have baking powder? And then when the time come, we'd get our GA check. The folks that you'd see us all taking our cups and stuff and paying our neighbor back. Yep, those are the good old days. You know, it wasn't nothing to now go knock on the door and say, hey, could I borrow sugar? You know, nowadays you don't do that. Ooh, they borrowed from me. Ooh, they're bold. Fun. What did we do for fun? Make mud pies. We would play string. You know what string is? Okay. At the store, when we would get our groceries in a box, they'd give us twine. You know what twine is? String. So we'd tie it, put it in our hand, and oh, I wish I had one. I'd show you, but I can't. I don't have one. But anyway, we'd go as far as we could with that string and making design with it, you know. So that was good. And then marbles, marbles. And then of course, you know, some would have horses. Oh, I'd live on horses. And then Jay Fleury, he had mules. Just let him round. Boy, I'd get up early in the morning and catch a mule and ride it. And would say, I give you $2 if you let me ride your horse. Go ahead, go catch it then. So would catch that horse and, you know, ride it. You know, just horses, marbles, string, cards. Some of the old people, the elders, they'd sit around and play cards all night. And some of them, they would just hear Grandpa Luke. It's our friend. He was our friend, Luke. He said, you know that field up there where Mounts live? That field there, little ways there. And then they lived right down here, you know, where this water is over here. Well, they lived right there. They had a little trailer. And he would come to the house. And I vaguely remember this, but my sisters, they remember. But he was a good storyteller. And they'd sit up all night and they'd visit and they'd tell stories. And my mother would make food, you know, because they knew he was coming or whoever was coming, and they'd sit up all night and tell stories. And my sister Bernadette said, boy, he had some scary stories. She said we hated to go outside to the bathroom because he'd make our hair stand up. And but anyway, he was a good storyteller, you know. and Lillian and them. They were good friends of my family. I was teasing Scott and Josie. I said, "You're related?" I said, "You can't get married." Because we were so close to them, the Black Crowes. We were close to them growing up. Fiddles and Mary Agnes, but Fiddles and Mark, they took my sisters, Itty and Coffee and Bernadette. That's how close we were. But they took them as sisters. They'd say, "Oh, there's my sister," but I was the young one, and they didn't pay attention. But anyway, yeah, they took them as sisters. So we'd visit, and then that's what we did. We'd visit, and they'd tell us stories and stuff. And back then, my folks, they did their best to be really. That's why I said, "You guys don't want to live in the old days." I said, because back in the old days, what I hear is that when my sisters got in trouble, they got their rubber hose. I mean, my dad, he just whack, whack, whack. And that one girl, she couldn't drive good, so her dad hit her in the head with a hammer. It didn't cause her hurt, but bing. And but anyway, that's what that's discipline was discipline. My dad, though, I was good. He never had to spank me. But those were when I was little. That's what you want to know. When we were growing up, what did we do for fun? Well, we had to stay home for one thing. Grandma would tell us stories. She'd say her rosary, and we played with sticks. We played with on the ground. We played marbles. We played in the dirt. We rode horses. We'd pick berries. We'd live in the brush sometime, eating berries. There used to be lots of berries. There used to be a lot of what do they call that? Rhubarb. And there used to be choke cherries, raspberries, and with gooseberries up that way, where Dean Work lives that way. And we used to have springs. There used to be a spring up there, Max's place, a spring, Luke's place, your grandpa Luke, he had a spring. And that's where we got our water. So we had to basically, we didn't have, we couldn't run around because we were too busy doing chores most of the time. Always busy, we didn't have no running water. So we were doing dishes. We were washing by hand, those boards like that. I remember all that, my mother and all the women hanging out their clothes and 20 below zero, what they call freeze dry them. Heavy blankets, you kids, we had heavy blankets, and we'd have to wash those heavy blankets and wring them out. You take one end, I'll take one end, we'd do this, and sometimes my mother should be wringing out those pants, like overalls, like this, and her wrists and stuff. But yeah, we didn't, we were, busy with chores most of the time. And then after it started getting modern and we had like lights and stuff, then we'd go here and there, but we were always scared of the dark. Well, I was anyway. I don't know if nobody was else was, but I remember us being scared of the dark, But that's what we did, for entertainment. And I'm sure other people, their own homes, they did. But I remember cards. I remember playing in the dirt. I remember playing stick horses, of course, playing in old cars, and would have fun, just fake it like we were. And yeah, sometimes we had hard times, everybody did, I remember one time, that I don't remember getting a Christmas present. I don't remember ever having a birthday until I was 24 years old. I had my first birthday cake, and then I remember when we didn't have Christmas, because then the folks were drinking by then, and I remember I found a tree up by Margaret Morin's there, and I took it and it had tinsel on it, and I went to that old car, and that was my Christmas tree, even though Christmas was over. But I always remember that, sitting there. I thought it was the most prettiest thing in the world, Some of us, like I said, were poor. Some of us weren't. I guess we were all poor, but we didn't know we were poor. As long as we had food on the table and the folks would come home, and then we were rich, But some were, better off than others, you know, but that's life, you know, that's life, you know. And but the good thing is, hey, we're still alive, and that our heritage is still going on. We're still Grovants, you know, there's still Assiniboines, and we're still going on, you know. We survived it. We survived it. Nowadays, you know, like I said, people say, I wish we lived back in the day, and I think, oh, pew. You know, because we had to chop wood. I mean, we had to chop wood, you know, and we had to saw wood. I remember going up the mountains with my dad, and he'd be sawing wood, and he'd just say, sit here. Don't go, just stay here. So I would, and I'd watch him saw wood. Oh, I loved my dad. He would smell like the mountains. He'd smell like the trees, you know. And I'd just stay right by him and would come down. And he had a sawmill right up here. And he used to saw wood and he'd sell it. You know, that was his income. And my dad was a wonderful dad. My mother was a wonderful mother. I loved my mother. I loved my dad. That dirty, rotten alcohol is what got them down. I don't blame nothing else but that alcohol, you know. And my little sister, like I said, she died when she was 21 years old. Yeah. No, because they forbid them to talk, you know. And I think you guys know that, you know. And but I would wake up. I was just telling one of my daughters today. I said, I remember my dad and mother. I said I'd wake up, you know, as a little kid early in the morning, and I'd hear them talk in Grovant, you know, just talk in Grovant, and it would sound so good. And I said, the Grovant they talk now, it's not the way I heard it. I said, probably because it was different, you know, that whatever they're talking about. I said, but they used to have this long thing. I can't even imitate it, but that Grovant language was, I don't know, you'd have to hear them. And I said, my dad, he was always saying, Nakoda, Nakoda. And he said, in the morning he'd say that. And then my mother would he'd laugh, and I'd hear my dad kind of chuckle. But he'd say, Nakoda, Nakoda. And he said, and he'd laugh, you know. But I'd hear them talking Grovant, and I said, now the language that they're trying to bring back, it's kind of like a pig Latin. It's not a thorough deal of the Grovant language. Some of it might be, but sometimes the pronunciation isn't right. So it says another word, because there's a way to say a certain word that means that, but then there's another way that you bring out the word. It's something different. Like one day I went to the Head Start, and I told my friend, I said, what does that mean? I said, that word on there. And she said, it means turkey. I said, it don't mean turkey, because I recognize saying that word. I said, how do you say it? So she told me, mind you, it meant dirty. It meant, how did they say it? But it meant dirty behind. So they were saying turkey, and they were saying dirty behind, you know. And she said, really? I said, yeah. I said, you better go back. Here she did, and she went out, find out the real way, come back, she had a different word on there. But see, I recognized that word and how she said it, and I thought, that don't sound right, you know. So I told her, I said, that means what I told her. And to show you how hard the language was at times, my mother and Buckwheat, you remember Buckwheat? Martin, okay, Cecilia Martin. Okay, her and Mom, they were the first ones to move into that tenplex, and they would talk Grovant to each other. So she said, Celia, Buckwheat, she said, how do you say curlew in Grovant? And gee, Celia looked at her. Two old ladies sitting there, they stayed up all night drinking tea. They thought, they were quiet for 5 days, 4 days. They didn't say nothing, back and forth. They'd go back to their apartment. And they were trying to figure out how to say curlew and Grovant. Is it this? No. Is it this? No. Gee, they were sitting there thinking. Oh, they were quiet. And finally one day, I think, I'm not sure which one, they said, is this how you say it? The light bulb went in. By golly, that's the way you say it. Oh, they couldn't get over it, boy, that, and I can't remember how they said it, you know. But I remember watching them, you know, and I was thinking, then that language must be kind of hard, you know, and how to say it. And just like my daughter, she got named Aaniiih, you know, and that means cutie pie. That's Grandma Buckwheat's Indian name from her mother. She gave it to my daughter Jocelyn, and Jocelyn said it different. And I said, no. I said, that ain't how you say it. It's Aaniiih, like that. Aaniiih, like that. Okay. She said it different. And I said, no. I said, you're saying something else. I said, you got to remember the how the voice sounds. Aaniiih, you know, like that. It's kind of like that. I said, no. I said, it's different. And then Josie, my mother gave her mother's Indian name, which means short woman. It's Gatsat, you know. And I always tell her, remember how to say it. And but yeah, they got the Indian names, and then I can't remember William's name. And then my dad named Junior, how do you say it? It's just a pet name. It's not a real Indian name. It's just he called him Ga'owu. That means coyote. You know, when he's crying, woo. And so he just gave him a pet name, Ga'owu. You know? But those are a few words that I remember. I don't know a lot, but I remember listening to Mom and Dad early in the morning, you know, talk. I'll be really honest with you about Native American Indian ceremonies, okay? I remember coming up the road with my dad and Mom, riding in our car, and I was listening to my dad talk, and I was just listening. I was just a little girl, and you know how you stand in the car, you know, back then we didn't have to have seat belts on, and I was listening to him tell a story. And he said, ooh, don't go that way. Don't you kids ever go that way. He said, don't go near that stuff. He said, and so I didn't, you know, I just took his word for it. But he was telling us about some man around here that wasn't that way, you know. But he said he caused those spirits to come and round up horses. That he'd call spirits up and make them round up horses. But my dad said, don't go that way. He said, and don't go to your Sundance, he said. So I never did, you know, I never did go that way. I Indian danced when I was in high school, but I never did go the other Native American Indian way. I didn't go the Indian religion. I danced when I was in Busby, Montana. I danced with Miss Indian America, and I have pictures of when I was younger in a buckskin outfit, you know, but I like to dance. And then, of course, at Lodgepole, you know, they used to have those powwows over there. And when those powwows, you weren't over there to see who gives the best gifts. It was there for fun, just fun. You didn't compete, nothing. People would just gather. New Year's, and they'd have a big old tub full of our pot full of soup, and they'd have orange and apple and crackers. You had to bring your own salt, and anyway, they would midnight New Year's, they'd go around, and you had to bring your own plates and your spoons and stuff. And so we'd gather. We'd get excited to go over there, and we'd go just watch them. And I remember standing by that door, that entrance at Lodgepole, that dance hall. And boy, those men had come in dancing. And I remember looking, because I was a little girl, you know, fascinated. And those men would come in with their big bells on their ankles. Boy, I think his name was Leo Wing, or he was a Wing. He'd come in. Oh my gosh, I thought that was the greatest thing, because those dancers had come in and they just make that floor shake. I thought that was so amazing, you guys. And they'd go in and they'd, you know, dance around, and the women would come in. But geez, that was fun. It was fun. There was no competition. There was nothing like that. It was just pure fun. And there was no alcohol that we could see, you know. And seems like they didn't even really have to have, you know, police around there. But I remember the smell of those bustles, the smell of those ladies' dresses from being in a trunk for so long. And I remember, how was it? We were just little. We'd put our hands on our hip. You know, dance like that. Some of them had capes. Some of them didn't have capes, you know. And just go out there in our clothes, but we'd have fun, you know. And it was fun. And then they'd have owl dance. You know the owl dance? You know how to do the owl dance? Okay. Then the men would go around and select whoever, or their wives or whatever, and they would twirl them around and whatever, you know, and like that. Nobody never did pick us little kids. But we sure enjoyed, you know, watching them. And it was fun. Then it was time to go home. And we'd all come home tired and happy and have our little orange, our little apple with us, you know. And that was it, yeah. That's a good question. I'll just tell you, you know, because like my house now, it's a 3-bedroom. I live here alone, okay? But I will not move into the 10-plex. I'll tell you why. For one thing, we need our own washer and dryer facilities in our own apartment, okay? It needs to be more secure there, right? And then if they could get us, like if there was a fire, heaven forbid, you know, down there, how in the world will anybody get out of there if they don't have an escape door on the other side, right? Okay, the windows are big enough. They're like this kind of. Well, you take an elder that's handicapped, how in the world are they going to put their wheelchair and get out of there, right? Okay, so if they have an escape door on the other side with a ramp, a little ramp, you know, or their family just push them, you know, because you're going to have to push that elder out to the window if there's somebody there, okay? Okay, the reason I'm saying have our own washer and dryer, okay? So with this COVID, okay, that was pretty, well, hurt us. I lost a son from it. And, but anyway, so the washer and dryers, there's a special way to clean them, okay? I don't know if it was done down there. I don't know. But if they could see, because down in that place down there, there's a nice big closet there. And they could actually put a washer. It's enough for a washer and dryer in there. Okay? Okay, everybody needs to have their own washer and dryer. I won't move in there. It's actually it's a good apartment, you know, and stuff, but I won't move down there. But the day that they start making it really secure and making it to, you know, accessible to where you could get out and stuff, then I'll think about it. That's what I told the kids. I said, I don't want to go to no rest home. I want to stay as active as I could, like Grandma Tootsie. My goodness, that lady was amazing. Yeah, she was so amazing. I just loved her. And she lived a long time, but she was independent because her family took care of her, you know, took care of her. Okay. And I'd go up to Lucille's and I'd see how the family took care of her. Okay, as elders, we need to be taken care of with facilities that are gonna make sure that we're gonna be safe getting in and out of our house. I fell off this porch. Okay, so there's no rail. There's a rail here because I requested it before I put this on, and I was right here, and I thought I instead of stepping, I don't know what I did, but I'll tell you what I did is I threw my body as high as I could, and I come down on both legs like this feet. That's what saved me. The other time I went out right here, and I was dumping something out right here. It's before I had this on. All of a sudden, my foot slipped off, and down I went, you know. my knees. I thought I broke my knees. And so safety. They did come here and look at a possibility of getting a ramp outside. They never did come back. Measured it, but they never came back. Okay, that was a year ago. Okay, it never was done. And then on this roof here, I watched Jay Willie over at the Head Start. Poor thing. He just barely missed it. That snow came down, and an elder, and it would have hit him. You know how heavy snow is. That whole thing came down, it would have hit him right in the back of the neck. It could have broke his neck. I fractured it. Okay, so I've asked a number of times. I didn't put it in writing yet. For that to be up here. You know, if you could look at the Head Start, you're going to see that they have that thing across. Okay, when you go this way. Well, then that will prevent the snow and the water from leaking on us. And this, in the winter time, is full of snow. That back there, because it's shaded, it's full of ice. Okay. I did slip one day, and it's a good thing that my idea was there. This rake was there. I got hold of it, and I regained my balance. Okay. Safety for the elders. And then always check to make sure what kind of, because when we get older, you kids get older, okay, you're gonna find out your legs don't lift as high to climb in the bathtub as you used to. Okay, we're not track runners, and we can't jump as high as we used to. Okay. So making sure that the elders have accessibility to a walk-in shower. Okay, and then the bathtub sometimes gets slippery. My friend Lou Stefan, before she got her walk-in shower, she fell in the shower and she broke her hip, you know, and she became in a wheelchair. See, those are preventable. And just things like that, you know, just maybe having a team. Maybe a team of people that just says, well, you know, because when I was working as a CHR, CNA, the number one thing with me and Cindy was our elders. Soon as something from down there, like they give those treats out, you know, like potatoes or this and that, boy, her and I were right down there loading up. We had a list of elders. We were loading their stuff up and taking them to their home. We even borrowed trucks to even go way out there. To make sure, excuse me, I'm just farting away. That comes with old age. You wait till you guys get older. But anyway, you know, just making sure, you know, that that elders are taken care of like that. You know, you guys, it's winter. You know, you guys don't have to go out. And me and her, we'd borrow pickups. Anybody who'd borrow us a 4-wheel drive, man, we were out to Lenore's Stiff Arms, you know. But we made it through, you know, to deliver her stuff to her. But just stuff like that, you know. And I heard a comment, you know, that those elders are getting too spoiled. So what? They're elders, you know. We're not demanding, you know, because we like to be independent. But just stuff like that, you know. A team of people that are just, you know, conscientious about our elders, you know, like that. And making sure, like, if they bring something to the John Capture Center, let's get a list of our elders and let's just go drop them off. That's why I got that table right there. Put my stuff on there. Malia was good at bringing my water. Just put my stuff there. I'll take care of the rest. And if I had a little ramp, it would be even better, you know. But yeah, I fell off this twice. But just being conscientious like that of our needs, you know. And another thing too that I wish that they would do. Oh God, I wish they'd do this. Is that, hey, let's build some more units of a 2-bedroom. Let's put our elders in there, you know. And like me and Karen, you know, that let's build them close together, you know, to where that if the one needs help, you know, the other one could help or whatever, you know. And I'm glad Karen's here because she kind of she knows me, you know. But for a 3 bedroom like this, you know, I clean it every day, but it's good exercise for me, you know. I'm not going to complain. But a family could move in here, you know. But I don't want to move to the 10-plex. I don't want to, because it's just not safe. and you know, like that. So who influenced my life the most? Jesus Christ. He changed my life, and I'm not kidding you. I wish I had the time to tell you how he did it, but I know you boys are on a mission here. I'd say when I met Jesus Christ, he changed my life for me. I was what they call a hawk and crazy when I was growing up. You know, went through my times of just being nutty. Not nutty, but you know, kind of wild. And then my sister, she's the one who told me about Jesus when I was about in my 30s. I told her, boy, you make me sound like I'm the worst sinner in the world. She said, well, you are. Without Jesus Christ, she said, you are. Boy, I got mad. I walked out of her house. I said, I'm not going back there. Little by little, it didn't happen overnight, but through the years, I learned more and more about Jesus. And he's the one that changed my life. He's the one that really changed my life. Put love in my heart for people. Took the crazy desires I used to have a long time ago, you know, and he changed me. That's all I could say is he changed me, you know. The future generations, it would be turn to Jesus Christ. He's the, and I mean that with all my heart. I'm not trying to preach or teach any kind of religion, because Jesus Christ isn't a religion. He's beyond religion. He changes lives. Religion doesn't do nothing for us. But when you meet the man called Jesus Christ, he honestly changes our life. And I would encourage every man, woman, and child on the face of this earth, whoever will listen to me, turn to Jesus Christ. He's the only answer. He's the only way. He's the only truth. That's what I would say. You know, and I'm not ashamed to say it, because I know what he did for me. I know the many miracles he performed for me. I know that. I know that. Nobody could take that away from me. Nobody. He healed me many times. He did things for me many times that I thought, I'll tell you one. So I was going down to Billings, and it just rained, snowed. And I was nervous because I didn't know what they were going to do with me, you know. And so I was standing by the refrigerator here, and I was talking to him, and this is what he said, and I'm not lying to you kids. He said, clear roads, new car. That's what he said. And I thought, clear roads, new car. And I looked down my hallway here. I seen a road, and it was clear. And I said, okay, but new car? I don't have a new car, Lord. But I said, okay. So my granddaughter pulls up at 7 in the morning, 6 or 7 in the morning. She said, you ready to go, Gram? I said, yeah. So we got on the road, and guess what? She pulled up in a brand new car. I had no idea that she had gotten a brand new car the day before. When we went, the Lord kept all the snow. Like there was snow, but it wasn't icy. Clear road. We got further down on the side, clear roads, you know. But that's what he said. I mean, right? I mean, that just blew me away, and I just thought, man, God. And then when I was going to get my ear done, you know, I had to have surgery. And like that, he was with me. I had such a peace, you guys. You know, when you get older, you get a little bit nervous and anxious. But I had such a peace like you wouldn't believe, and I knew everything was going to be okay. Well, they did do that, you know. But my ear hasn't been the same since then. I'd get liquid behind it, and get dizzy and everything. But the Lord did that. He kept me all the way, you know. And nobody could ever take that away from me. That's why I said, if I had the words, turn to Jesus Christ. Give him your life. Let the Holy Spirit lead you and guide you, you know. But that's where I'm at. And we will continue praying for all of our people. It's real. This war is real. Kids, it's real. And you young men, you know, you have to Look to him. Look to him. Look to him. That's all.